The free agent market for some are hungry for a quick fix.
The greatest one-year stops in NFL history.
A one-year rental that can come in on a mercenary-like contract and hopefully get their team over the edge. So how about we take a look back throughout the years at the best one-year rental move that each NFL team has made. Arizona Cardinals, Dwight Freeney, 2015. Dwight Freeney, in his heyday, was one of the most feared pass rushers that the game had ever seen. Hence the NFL world's surprise when the Cardinals were able to scoop him up prior to the 2015 season. He didn't put up his best season, but still, 8 sacks at age 35 was pretty dang impressive. Atlanta Falcons, Tony Martin, 1998. The name Tony Martin may not jump out at you, but make no mistake about it, the veteran wide receiver made a big impact in Atlanta during his lone season there. Despite having made just one Pro Bowl heading into his year 33 season, he had a monster year, putting up under 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns in their high-powered offense. Not to mention his legendary 129-yard NFC Championship game performance against the Vikings. Baltimore Ravens, Trent Dilfer, 2000. Trent Dilfer certainly wasn't the best quarterback that the Ravens have ever had, but considering that he signed as a backup for Tony Banks and managed to win the starting job and the Super Bowl that year, I think it's safe to say that he was a worthy one-year rental, especially after what we saw transpire with the Elvis Grbac disaster that following year when they tried to upgrade at quarterback. Buffalo Bills, Terrell Owens, 2009. The Bills were a mess, but T.O. still gave fans a highlight reel. 829 yards and 5 touchdowns in one of the strangest WR Buffalo marriages ever, especially considering how bad Buffalo's quarterbacks played that year too. Carolina Panthers, Jared Allen, 2015. Though most of Jared Allen's Hall of Fame career did not take place in Carolina, signing him was a big deal for the Panthers in 2015. While he didn't exactly stuff the stat sheet, he was certainly a source of leadership and added depth to the pass rush for a team that went 15-1 and made it to the Super Bowl. Chicago Bears, Clinton Dix, 2019. The former Alabama Crimson Tide star was only in the Windy City for 1 year, but he managed to make an impact finishing the season with an impressive 78 total tackles, 2 picks, and 5 passes defended, and snagged his first pick 6 of his career in the dominant win. Cincinnati Bengals, James Harrison, 2013. 2013 was far from James Harrison's best season as a pro, but this was a big deal for the Cincinnati Bengals at the time, as they signed him away from Big Brother, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cleveland Browns, Joe Flacco, 2023. Joe Flacco was only in Cleveland for 1 year, largely due to their disastrous situation with Deshaun Watson, but he did become the first player in NFL history to have 250 passing yards and multiple passing touchdowns in each of his first 5 games with the franchise, leading the once lowly Browns to one of the most shocking playoff runs in recent memory. Dallas Cowboys, Robert Quinn, 2019. During his lone season in Big D, the talented defensive end managed to notch an impressive 11.5 sacks, marking his first double-digit total since 2014. Denver Broncos, Sean Phillips, 2013. 2013 was a year to remember for the Broncos in many ways, all but one. And that, of course, was the very final game of the season. He finished that season with 10 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and an INT before losing in horrendous fashion to Seattle in the big game. Detroit Lions, Dave Krieg, 1994. Originally signed as a backup to Scott Mitchell and relieved him mid-year following an injury to the tune of 14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions and a 5-2 record, earning wildcard berth in the process. Green Bay Packers, Desmond Howard, 1996. While many aspects of the former Heisman Trophy winner Desmond Howard's career were a disappointment, his stint in Green Bay was not. He received All-Pro honors as a returner and even took home Super Bowl MVP honors during his team's win. Houston Texans, Ryan Fitzpatrick, 2014. Unfortunately, he did end up breaking his leg toward the end of the season, but he did manage to set a franchise record in the process with 6 touchdowns and 358 yards with no interceptions against the Titans in Week 13. Indianapolis Colts, Anthony McFarland, 2006. Before Booger McFarland, as he's affectionately known, was one of the most popular talking heads in the media landscape, he was actually a pretty solid football player, and his final season before retirement was no exception. He signed in Indy for 1 year, midway through the season no less, and helped them win the Super Bowl, during which he recorded a sack. Jacksonville Jaguars, Kenny Wright, 2005. Wright had one of his best years as a pro in Duval, with 64 tackles and 2 interceptions, making this challenging for opposing quarterbacks all season long before cashing in DC the following offseason. Kansas City Chiefs, Emmanuel Ogbah, 2019. Defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah was a subtle but integral part of the Kansas City Chiefs defense back in 2019 when they took home their first championship in the Mahomes era. Ogbah finished with 5.5 sacks in 10 games and could have made that defense even scarier had he been able to stay healthy for their playoff run. Las Vegas Raiders, Yannick Ngakoue, 2021. He played all 17 games and racked up 10 sacks, his first double-digit sacks year since 2017. Los Angeles Chargers, David Griggs, 1994. Unfortunately, this one ends in tragedy, as former Chargers linebacker David Griggs was a one-year rental in part because he passed away the following offseason in a car wreck. But his 1994 campaign was truly impressive. He helped the Chargers reach the Super Bowl on the strength of 72 tackles, 1 interception, and a forced fumble. Los Angeles Rams, Odell Beckham Jr., 2021. Beckham was a part of the Rams' all-in year. The controversial star receiver caught 2 of his first 3 targets for 52 yards, which included a 17-yard touchdown from Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford, and played great on the Super Bowl run before getting injured. Miami Dolphins, Larry Csonka, 1979. Larry Csonka might not initially come to mind as a rental for Miami, as, well, the Hall of Famer played quite a few years there. But there was actually a large gap before he returned in 79 for one final season.
I gave retirement a great deal of thought the last 2 years with the Giants because they weren't using me at all, and I still felt that I could play.
And man, did his last ride deliver.
Larry Csonka. Help me out, St. Larry Csonka.
He earned Comeback Player of the Year honors, ran for 837 yards and 12 touchdowns, leading Miami to a 10-6 record and their first division title in half a decade. Minnesota Vikings, Case Keenum, 2017. What Case Keenum pulled off in 2017 for the Vikings is still stunning to this day. He joined the team on a one-year deal and filled in for Sam Bradford in magnificent fashion. Furthering his legend was his role in the miraculous playoff comeback against the Saints, when he threw a game winner to Stephon Diggs in the final seconds of the game. New England Patriots, Darrelle Revis, 2014. Darrelle Revis made one heck of a career move in 2014 when he spurned the New York Jets, the team that drafted him, in order to link up with their division rival, the New England Patriots, going first-team All-Pro and winning his Super Bowl in the process. Not to mention that he was able to promptly go back to his bag-chasing ways shortly thereafter, rejoining the Jets the very next season for a nice payday. New Orleans Saints, Emmanuel Sanders, 2020. Coming off his near heroics in the preceding Super Bowl for the 49ers, Sanders signed a nice deal in NOLA, where he stayed for 1 year, which included a career 12-catch game and a total of 726 receiving yards and 5 scores. New York Giants, John Carney, 2008. John Carney was one of the most consistent kickers in the league during his era, but perhaps nothing was more impressive than the stint that he had at the end of his career with the Giants, when he earned Pro Bowl honors at 44 and helped the Giants to the 1 seed. New York Jets, Jason Taylor, 2010. Jason Taylor tortured the Jets for years as a part of the Dolphins' defensive line, but all was forgiven by the fans in green in 2010 when he helped them get to the AFC Championship that year and pushed his career sack totals to 8th all-time in the process.
As you get up there in the years and people try to put the end in your career, and you want an opportunity to play, and the Jets have given me an opportunity to play.
Philadelphia Eagles, LeGarrette Blount, 2017. It's tough to have a better run in back-to-back years than LeGarrette Blount had in 2016 and 2017, when he jumped from the New England Patriots, where he was an absolute battering ram, to Philly. He was a major factor in the playoffs, punching in 3 touchdowns and being a major factor for the Eagles in their takedown of the Pats on football's biggest stage, going for 90 yards and a score on 14 carries. Pittsburgh Steelers, Antoine Randall, 2010. After a 4-year sabbatical in the nation's capital, Antoine Randall returned to the black and yellow in heroic fashion. He was a big part of their Super Bowl run and hauled in 2 catches for 50 yards and a 2-point conversion, as they were narrowly edged out by Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, 31-25. San Francisco 49ers, Deion Sanders, 1994. Tough to do much more than Deion Sanders did in his 1 year with the San Francisco 49ers. Primetime rolled into the Bay Area, took home Defensive Player of the Year, and won the Super Bowl. Seattle Seahawks, Jadeveon Clowney, Clowney, 2019. Houston traded Clowney in exchange for Jacob Martin, Barkevious Mingo, and a third-round pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. While his regular season performance was so-so to his standards, Clowney has to be included here, as his postseason run was very solid with 12 tackles and 1.5 sacks in 2 games. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Darrelle Revis, 2013. The Tampa 2 defense might not have been a perfect fit for Revis, but he still had a good enough year during his lone season in South Florida to make the Pro Bowl. For a guy with a career littered with accomplishments, landing on 2 separate teams' entries for best one-year rental has gotta be up there. Tennessee Titans, Jason Babin, 2010. Not every one-hit wonder can carry their team to the Super Bowl, despite the fact that Tennessee went 6-10 that year, but Babin had 12.5 sacks and went to the Pro Bowl is not that bad for a one-year stint in the Music City. Washington Commanders, Olamide Zaccheaus, 2024. At 5'8", Zaccheaus has never been the type of wideout to instill fear in opposing defenses, but he had a great year during his one season in Washington, aiding in Jaden Daniels' development and providing a reliable route runner over the middle. But which of the players here do you think was the best one-year rental in your favorite team's history? Who do you think we're right on? Who do you think we're wrong about? Was there anyone notable that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton, and you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.